and he's going to take on these countries that screw American workers. That's the plan. And oh, by the way, he's going to crack down on immigration to the benefit of American workers.
He's going to deport 20 million people, the people who pick your crops, the people who process your meat, the people who, care for your grandmother, the people who serve all sorts of critical functions in this country.
I own my own home, a couple cars, you know what I mean? I got 4 kids. Got a wife, beautiful wife at home. So to see it just all of a sudden disappear, wouldn't you be a little mad about that?
A Detroit auto worker is dying on the vine.
I've been here 4 years working hard. You want to give these jobs to other people so you can pay them less than what you're paying me. You shouldn't have never did that.
You can hear her in the streets. You can hear him in the bars. This is a UAW joint in Warren, Michigan. Stellantis, the European company that now owns Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler, is laying off 2,500 people, working men and women. It isn't easy committing your life to a machine only to have it ripped away. Just listen.
So what's going to happen?
We all disappear.
Are you angry?
Everybody angry. Everybody's angry.
Are you scared?
I'm scared to death.
Just being punched after punch, it's just so hard, It's like you just keep pushing us.
Democrats might have just ended racism, guys. I'm being dead serious when I say this, because the more I shift through social media, look at the reactions to some of the stuff that I'm seeing, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this was said in the CNN panel. As you saw from the intro, you saw this lady, Catherine Ramble. She is one of the, I remember I did a video on her before when she was talking about, remember when she said, oh, the economy is good.
Have superseded inflationary rates.
They have.
But
they have.
For some.
No, overall.
For
they
some.
have.
I'm going to push back on that. I think it's easy for people living in big
I
East
cover
Coast,
this. This is my job.
I understand that it's your job, but when you go and talk to regular people, they're going to tell you, when I go to the grocery store, it is more expensive for me to pay for goods.
True. That is
true. You cannot negate that fact with all due respect to your...
That's the same lady that tried to make this argument right here. And I don't understand why they have her on the show, because she offers nothing of substance. All she has is studies. I could do that. I could reference studies. That don't make me a chief economic journalist, but somehow she is. And the stuff she's talking about is so asinine. Oh, who's going to pick your cotton? Essentially is what she said in the intro, right? And I'm never the one to look for racism in anything when people say something, but I found that a little bit racist. It's the same thing when liberals, when Republicans like me say, hey, or conservatives like me say, we want to be tough on crime, and a black person says, or white liberal says, oh my God, that hurts black people. I'm like, what? So you think black people are criminals? And then they have to go on this all defensive tirade of how they're not racist because of the fact that they're implying that black people are criminals, even though the majority of black people are not criminals. Majority of black people are law-abiding citizens. And they're doing the same narrative here with the illegal, these jobs. Who's going to do this for you? Who's going to take care of your elderly grandma? Americans to be doing those jobs. I keep referencing this study time after time, not a study, but this case study where they deported 600 illegal immigrants out of a town, and immediately a bunch of Americans applied for those jobs those illegals were holding. So you're essentially Democratic Party policy is effectively creating the problem, and then they're trying to give you the solution being illegal immigrants, right? They want to complain about population numbers plummeting, but they're pushing abortion. Make it make sense. And here's a quote tweet from someone I don't think he's politically affiliated, but he's reacting to what he's seeing, and they wonder why black folks are voting for Trump. Do we really have a choice, Ninja? We are voting to save black jobs and to deport millions of illegal immigrants. This is why a majority of Americans agree with mass deportation. But Democrats don't want to hear it. Democrats don't want to believe it. Instead, they think Kamala Harris has an economic plan. So in this next clip is a 2-part clip for you guys. First clip is how Kamala Harris makes this fraudulent attempt to blame the migrant crisis, the illegal migrant crisis, the border crisis on Donald Trump. And the second clip is Scott Jennings pretty much destroying the media's narrative that they care too much about the appearance of Kamala Harris and nothing about her substance. Let's take a look.
I mean, wait a minute here. The vice president, once upon a time, supported taxpayer dollars, your money, my money, your money, all the people who are watching, to go towards people who broke the law coming into our country, to give them driver's license, to pay for tuition. when we're struggling to pay for our own children to get a college education. Then her own running mate signed into law in his own state these very things that she's now saying she's now against them. And the American people are supposed to believe that the vice president has now all of a sudden had an epiphany. And all of a sudden, all of her beliefs have magically changed, yet the guy she chose clearly believes these things. And you're flipping it to Republicans?
Is Trump planning on doing, and can he articulate
Well,
it?
to me, I think it's a great question, and it needs to be fleshed out. I think we should probably play the clip, though, of Harris from the Chicago Economic Club or do we not have it? Because she didn't show up to talk. So here's what I think. He's going to extend the tax cuts. He's going to rein in the federal government and the overburdensome regulatory state, which he can now do because of the Supreme Court. And he's going to take on these countries that screw American workers. That's the plan. And by the way, he's going to crack down on immigration to the benefit of American workers.
He's going to deport 20 million people, the people who pick your crops, the people who process your meat, the people who, care for your grandmother, the people who serve all sorts of critical functions in this country. Yeah, he's going to deport a lot of people, and that's going to worsen the economy. In fact, there have been, I don't know, like a dozen different independent economic analyses from Goldman Sachs, AEI, Brookings, Nomura, Peterson Institute. All of them
I know your argument. If you want to run on more illegal immigration as a Democrat, go ahead. I just don't think it's going to work in the election.
He wants to deport 20 million. I'm not done with his. I know what his economic policy is because he has talked about it. He doesn't understand how any of it would work, but he has talked about it. He wants 10% global tariffs, which would worsen inflation. He wants to deport 20 million people, which would worsen inflation and reduce growth. He wants to politicize the Federal Reserve, which would worsen inflation. He wants to devalue the dollar, which would worsen inflation.
And after all that,
all of these things.
The American population wants that economy back. What do you say to that?
I say that we should be talking about what the policies are.
They're just too dumb.
Very good. It's all about messaging.
No, it's because
And it seems like these people try to, they're really trying to hard. Like, this is the media narrative on tariffs. That if Donald Trump institute a tariff, that is going to increase costs across the board. And that is a lie because, like anything, Trump is using tariffs as a leverage point, right? Because end of the day, let's say you got an unfair deal. You say, hey, I'm going to hold out my services until you give me a more fair price on your services. Let's say you rely on each other's services. Let's say I provide food for you and you provide crops for me, right? I supply you cows, meat, whatever, and you supply me fruits, vegetables, whatever. And let's say you say, hey, Kenny, to sell your meat in my market, I'm going to charge you 20% of your profits. I'll be like, no way. And then I'm no deal. I'm not going to be a part of that. And this is effectively what tariffs is, because in the European Union right now, and end of the day, like you saw Scott Jennings called it out, Donald Trump has the ability to articulate his economic policies. He did it in the Economic Club of Chicago, something that Kamala Harris didn't do. And it seems like these liberals in the mainstream media seems to forget that happened. They want to say, I know his plan. I know you don't. Because if you know his plan, you would have looked at his presidency and seen that manufacturing was coming back. Now people in Detroit, 2,500 people lost their jobs. And they know those jobs are going to get replaced by illegal migrants. And you wonder why black people are voting for Trump. Oh, why Trump's getting so much support? Because people are putting the things together and be like, yo, Democrats are creating an environment where it's more profitable for businesses to outsource their labor somewhere else or use illegal migrants for cheap labor. That screws us over. And this is why I said in the intro that Democrats is going to solve racism right now. Not with their rhetoric, but with their actions. Because then people are going to realize, yo, this white union worker right here, me and him, we have the same situation. We're in the same income, possibly live in the same neighborhood. We're affected by the same outcomes and the same bad policies of the Democratic Party. And more black people are coming around to this idea that, yo, there's the thing systematic is not based on race, it's based on class, right? If you want to make the argument about systematic racism, you don't have much. But if you want to say systematic classism, you have an argument there. Because these things affect one class differently than the other class. Depending on your net worth, you're more likely, if you have a higher net worth, you are more likely to say that inflation was not a problem in your life. While the lower your income is, the higher the chance is that you'll say that inflation is a big factor in your life, has a big impact on your life. Who's the party of the wealthy? Democrats. Look at the stats. Majority of people who vote Democrat, if you look at the average net worth of a Democratic voter versus a Republican voter, they have a higher income. And Democrats still want to portray themselves as the party of the working class. What asinine argument is that? I get black Democrats in my comment section. Donald Trump don't care about you. And you know what my rebuttal is as a black conservative? Dumb rich people don't care about you because Democrats is the party of the rich. Don't believe me? Look it up. Democrats, liberals, they brag about how they have the highest average income compared to Republicans. They brag about it. But all of a sudden, you expect me to believe that rich people care about me? Talking out of both sides out of there. Hey, how many billionaires the Democrats had on their platform talking during their convention? Oprah, right? The Obamas are doing pretty well for themselves, but they're here lecturing you how much of a victim you are, how you can't do nothing in their country, but all of them black. All of them black, except Obama. Obama is a mixed guy, but, you know, same thing. But they're lecturing you how you can't make it in this country without them. And this is what I'm talking about. Voting Democrat is doing the same old, same old. You're only rewarding people who are incentivized to maintain their control over the black community. The black community, if nothing changes, is guaranteed to vote 90% for the Democratic Party. What incentive does Democrats have to change with their ways? None. And in this next clip, I want to show you, Catherine's going to get annoying again because she's going to sit here and debate with Kevin O'Leary. Like, imagine that. She's going to debate Kevin O'Leary on the effects of tariffs. And she's referencing studies while he's referencing experience. Let's take a look.
I like the idea of going to war with China with tariffs to change behavior.
But it didn't change behavior. All it did was hurt
Because we've
American
had
companies.
weak leadership that doesn't know how to implement.
This is the same leadership. It was
No, no.
Trump who
It
launched
started
the
with
trade
Biden,
war with.
then it was Clinton saying, let's democratize China, let's show them democracy, and they'll play fair and they'll play fair.
Okay, but to Catherine's point, she
No, Catherine don't have a point. Look at Kevin O'Leary's head and look at that. That lady, at best, she's probably maybe 33 years old, at best. You're talking to, how old is Kevin O'Leary? Maybe 60 years old. I don't know how old Kevin O'Leary is, but he is older than her. So he has a better timeline of how tariffs was used. And he said weak leadership. He said he saw it with Clinton, Biden, and he saw it compared to Trump and how they both effectively use it. Because if you make a threat, right? If Donald Trump make a threat, like Biden, for instance, with the war, what you'll tell Putin if he tries to invade Ukraine? Don't. Biden. Trump. I'm a bomb Moscow if you take 1 foot in Ukraine. That's Trump. Whose threat was believed? Trump's. Why? Because Trump showed a track record of, we don't mess with this guy. He'll mess around and send you a picture of your house. Why you gave me a picture of your house? Oh, I don't know. That's Trump. That's how Trump. So when he said weak leadership, I believe him. And the arrogance of the lady would be like, no, because she's referencing some studies. Studies are nothing more than analysis. I'm doing an analysis right now. It doesn't make everything I say true. It's just a possibility of framing that I'm trying to articulate to you and seeing, hey, this is how I see things. Here's why. That's all an analysis tell you. But if someone said, I actually experienced this, experience matters more than analysis because analysis is based on assumptions, theories versus reality. That's what experience is. Experience is reality. What is the reality of these things? And he's showing you a reality where it's true and it's more likely to be true because we already have some examples of it in history. And then with context, hey, both used tariffs. One was ineffective, one was effective. Why? So leadership. Weak leadership is what's made tariffs less effective because you try to democratize China. You try to be friendly with China. I know I shouldn't be letting you just rip us off like that, but I think, we're trying to, be in your good graces. And this is what happened. They bent over backwards for China and they're getting taken advantage of. And this is what Kevin O'Leary is pointing out. But this financial journalist is arguing with a bona fide businessman, someone who's actually in the field. Imagine her arguing with Kevin O'Leary is like me arguing with a doctor. The man actually did surgery. Me, I read about surgery. And I'm telling him, no, that's not how you do the surgery. Bruh, the arrogance.
it's time to raise tariffs to China to 400%.
Hang on a second.
Trump already raised tariffs on China.
Not enough. Not
there
enough.
have been many studies showing that U.S. companies and consumers are the ones who bore the cost.
Academic study. I'm doing real business in China. I'm actually doing business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm actually working
American
there. There's no academics in my company.
Where do you think they buy their inputs from?
Let me explain something to you.
From China.
The Chinese
It
steal
hurts
my
American
IP. They make the same product with the molds that I pay for there. They ship them into this country under a different brand. I don't like it anymore, and I've been trying to solve this for 30 years.
If you tariff everything from China at
there's no
60%,
academic in my world.
You're going to be paying more for this stuff.
Like the arrogance of this liberal lady. Like, who is she? Who is she? She don't create no jobs. All she does is like she talks for a living. Sorry, that's what she does. That's not a real job. That's a luxury job to have. Just like, there's some people out here who gets paid for telling jokes. That's a luxury job. But if ish hit the fan, if electricity go out tomorrow, your job is not valuable anymore. And this is the insanity. Like, this guy is creating jobs. He's creating an economy. He works in these markets, firsthand experience. And he's being lectured by some millennial liberal woman. I know she's liberal. Just the way she carries herself, I know she's liberal. I already know. This is wow. I'm baffled. I'm honestly baffled. Same lady say, "Oh, who's gonna pick your cotton?" Ridiculous. Stuff like this is what honestly pissed me off about the mainstream media, is that they put a bunch of people who don't understand nothing. And then when they finally get somebody that understands the effects of tariffs, because he's a businessman, he can actually tell you, okay, hey, here's the reality. She's acting like Donald Trump wants to do a broadband tariff across the board. No, it's very targeted tariffs, right? Just like he's during the economic Bloomberg. All you got to do is watch the Bloomberg episode, the Bloomberg reaction video that I did on my channel, and you'll get a perfect idea of what Trump is trying to use tariffs for, right? And there's someone that I found his video just now. In this clip, he articulates perfectly how Trump will leverage tariffs. Let's take a look.
And of course, it's a bargaining chip. We can't sell a Ford or GM in Europe. You go to Europe, you can't sell a Ford or GM. Why? There's 100% tariffs. How about in Japan? 100% tariffs. So do you think if we said we're going to tariff you the way you tariff us, do you think they're going to allow Mercedes and all these Japanese companies and Porsches and BMWs to all of a sudden have 100% tariffs in America? Of course not. They're going to come and negotiate, and their tariffs are going to come down. And finally, Ford and General Motors are going to be able to sell in these places.
How's that sound, Andrew? Of
course they're going to come down. Of course. This is just negotiating.
It absolutely makes sense. If you do it strategically, if it's across the board, it creates a real problem. And the question is whether you believe the president is going to do it strategically or across the board. He keeps saying it across the board.
Well, when you're running for office, you make broad statements so people understand you. Right. Okay? Tariffs are an amazing tool by the president to use. They're an amazing tool, but he understands, don't tariff stuff we don't make. Right? If we don't make it and you want to buy it, I don't want to put the price up there. It's pointless. But use tariffs to build in America. If we want to make it in America, tariff it. Or if we're competing with it, tariff it. But you got to remember, we need to protect the American worker. Finally, someone's going to protect the American worker. And Donald Trump is here to protect the American worker.
Do you think we make a lot of money in tariffs, or if they're used as negotiating tactics? Look, tariffs will come down there. We're not going to have super high tariffs here either. There's not going to be a big pot of money at the end of the day.
I love that story. So which is it? Do we make a lot of money on tariffs, or we bring productivity here and we drive up our workers here? So it's a win-win scenario. I like both of them. I think what's going to happen is we'll make a bunch of money on the tariffs, but mostly everybody else is going to negotiate with us, and we will be more fair. In 1948, right, we came up with something called the Marshall Plan, right? The world, Germany and Japan were destroyed after World War II, and we wanted to export our economy to them. So we made a rule. They could tariff us and we won't tariff them. So they can
This is the
rebuild.
best explanation I've heard of.
So
the
they
tariff
can
story,
rebuild their economy. We rebuilt their economy using something called the Marshall Plan. Our economy is so awesome that we'll use it to help you rebuild. When should that have ended? What do you think, 1980? Right? 1985? I mean, why 40 years are Japan and Germany and all of Europe still tariffing the heck out of our auto industry, tariffing the heck out of our furniture industry? Do you realize all your furniture you're buying that's made foreign? It seems crazy. Why? It's because they tariff us and we don't tariff them. It's so obvious.
And now we have come full circle. And you wonder why black votes are voting for Trump. Do we really have the choice, Ninja? We are voting to save black jobs and to deport millions of illegal migrants. Right? You just explained how tariffs hurt the American auto industry and why manufacturing, why Detroit has lost a lot of its economy, a lot of its power, a lot of its importance and significance economically. It's still economically sufficient for manufacturing. GM's still there. I believe Stellantis, a lot of these auto jobs are still there, but it's a dying industry. Why? Because of the fact that European Union, Japan, Germany, they still tariff us, but we don't tariff them. It's very simple stuff. But, tariffs will hurt us. But tariffs are already hurting us. These foreign countries are tariffing us, and it's destroying productivity here in the United States. A long time ago, when we used to have an education system, around 2008, I think, I watched a video with my teacher. My teacher, shout out to him. He put up a video about how America stopped being a producer and became almost exclusively a consumer country. And that's what's happening when all your manufacturing jobs is shipped out. And we just lost another 2,500. And you wonder why Ninja's voting for Trump. If you get my drift. But black women, liberal women, getting on black men's case. Oh, why are you supporting Trump? You vote against your best interest. You go vote for a man who denigrated you? How is this not denigrating? 2,500 auto workers laid off in Warren, Michigan. This is not degrading? Democrats' economic border policies is hurting the interests of black people, but that's not denigrating? Donald Trump says mean tweets. Donald Trump say things that are true that is inconvenient to the image of black people. Haiti is an ish-hole. I can say that as a descendant of Haitians. Haiti is an ish-hole. I wouldn't want to live there. I lived there for 2 weeks, visiting family from my mother's side. When I came back, I was kissing the ground of America. I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm back. Oh my God, there's water, running water. It made me appreciative of the fact that I was born in America. And I think a lot of people who ish on America a lot has never been outside of the country before, has never actually visited a third world country, a so-called third world country before, a developing country before. Because if they have, they'll be like, damn, I could have been here. But make it make sense. But they want to take a dump on America. When if you're a black person, no matter your income range, you're the top 1% of black people in the world. You're richer than 99% of black people around the world. But you still complain how hard you have it here. Compared to the struggles that I see of Haitian kids when I went to visit at the young age of 8 years old, when I went to go visit Haiti and seeing what they had to do, their struggles, what they had to do, I'm like, oh, I'm grateful that I didn't have their struggle. Because I could admit, Haitians have a harder struggle than I have as an American. And that gave me perspective. And I think that's what we lack a lot in our culture today. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with the liberal lady, Catherine, about tariffs? Or do you believe that guy that I just showed you? Perfect explanation of tariffs, by the way. He broke it down very simply and succinctly. And it's exactly how I think Trump will be using the tariffs as well. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.